What's going on, Trade Pros? This is Mark from Trade Pro Academy, and welcome back for another weekend video. Today, I'm going to be discussing how traders can learn to deal with uncertainty in the markets. Now, if you've ever found yourself in a situation where you're struggling to pull the trigger because you're uncertain of whether the trade's going to work out in your favor or not, stick around because we're going to get a lot of great insight today. We're going to roll the intro and get after it. So grab a pen, a paper, a cup of coffee, and let's do this. All right, guys, welcome back. So how can traders learn to deal with uncertainty? Well, before I dive into the practical strategies you guys can use, I think it's first important to discuss the role of uncertainty as it relates to our human psychology. So uncertainty is something that our brains are not wired for. Our brains are actually wired for certainty. We as a species, we as a human species, we hate uncertainty because to our subconscious mind, uncertainty represents potential dangers. And if you think about it as it relates to trading, electronic trading was only introduced in the early 90s. So to the subconscious mind, whether it's a life or death scenario, or whether it's the fear of taking a monetary loss or the fear of being wrong, that represents a danger. All right, so the subconscious mind cannot distinguish between danger posed from trading and danger posed from actual real life scenarios. So everything is kind of put into one bucket, and whether it's trading or real life scenarios, if there is uncertainty, the subconscious mind is going to take over. And I like to use the example of our prehistoric ancestors, all right, the cavemen. So just think about this. Just imagine a caveman, in the cave with his family, and he's got to go out and forage for food. So he's got to leave the safety of that cave in order to go find some food to feed the family. Now, to the subconscious mind, that cave represents certainty because he knows that he's safe. But as soon as they leave that cave, there is uncertainty. All right, so let's say the caveman in this example leaves the safety of that cave and goes to forage for some food. And let's say, in the process, they run into some animal that they've never seen before. But this animal looks like it's mean, this thing looks fierce, it's got big teeth. If the caveman sees that animal sitting down there, let's say 10 feet, 20 feet away from it, do you think that the logical part of the brain is gonna stand there and say, I've never seen this thing before. Is it gonna attack me? Can I defend myself against it? Or do you think the subconscious mind is gonna override the logical part of the brain and just take over? Because that's exactly what's gonna happen. The caveman's not gonna stand there looking at this new animal that looks deadly and wonder, can I defend myself? No, they're gonna get the heck out of there. And that is something similar that relates to trading. All right, so a lot of people, they get into trading, right, but they have not really worked on their psychology. They haven't learned to accept and deal with uncertainty. And the issue is that the subconscious mind, like I said, cannot differentiate between dangers posed to you as a result of trading and dangers posed to you as a result of life or death scenarios, right? It's all grouped into the same thing. So the internal conflict that a lot of traders face is due to the fact that the subconscious mind takes over the logical mind when fear is present, right? When there's a presence of danger and the subconscious mind thinks that your well-being is at risk, that's gonna take over, regardless of what your logical mind says. So a lot of the time, if you're looking to take a trade, for example, and you're uncertain of whether you should pull the trigger or not because you don't know if you're gonna lose money or not, you don't know if you're gonna be wrong or not, it doesn't matter that logically you want to be a trader because the subconscious mind is sensing danger and it's telling you, get the heck out of here. And this is a big struggle that a lot of traders face. And I'm gonna give you guys some practical strategies now on how you can go about dealing with this uncertainty and using it as an opportunity to thrive. So as traders, anything that happens outside of our own control can cost us money and can weigh on the psychology. Now, I've kind of already alluded to how uncertainty has a role in trading, but let's kind of summarize it here. The way that we tend to see uncertainty kind of play out in a majority of traders. So number one, it forms in the sense that you are uncertain with your actual strategy. You end up passing on valid trading setups because of the uncertainty, whether it's going to work out or not, only to see it work out more often than not, which leaves you in a state of frustration and which also leaves you with some FOMO. And what does that result in? More times than not, results in looking to take subpar trades because you're anchored to having missed the trade where you should have taken it, but it was uncertain, right? You're using new information that you didn't have at the time you should have made that decision to make your new decisions. All right, and this is one of the ways that uncertainty plays a dangerous role in the trading psyche. The other way that we kind of see uncertainty play out in traders is in outsourcing. A lot of newer traders, and this is more typical for newer traders, kind of beginner traders trying to find their footings in the market. A lot of the time, people will want to learn how to trade, but they're not going to want to put in the time to learn how to do it. And what does that result in? Trading signals. All right, so a lot of the time, newer traders, they will want to outsource that uncertainty by taking somebody else's signal. Because if somebody else provides the signal, then you don't have that sense of uncertainty of whether it's going to work out. And secondly, you're able to point fingers. All right, if it doesn't work out, it's nothing to do with yourself, it's something to do with somebody else. All right, so that's number one. And really the second way that a lot of traders tend to outsource their uncertainty is utilizing, social media platforms. And I was guilty of this when I started. When I started, I was trading penny stocks. And I remember if I was looking to take a trade or I had an idea on a certain ticker, I'd get out onto Twitter, type in that ticker in the search, see what's coming up and see what other people are saying. If the general consensus was in line with what I was looking to do, perfect, my uncertainty's gone. I've cemented in, this is more certain of a trade than not. Take the trade, and you know where that left me? Nowhere. I was losing money, left, right, and center until, I learned to deal with the uncertainty, to accept the uncertainty, and use it more as an opportunity in order to, get to the point where I'm at now. So now that you guys are kind of familiar with the psychology of uncertainty and how it plays a role in our day-to-day lives as humans, and also how it plays a role in our day-to-day life as traders. So now we get to the fun part of the practical strategies. How can you learn to deal with uncertainty? Tip number one is to be clear. Have clarity, all right? And what I mean by having clarity is to know exactly what you are looking for in a trading setup. And whether you listen to our podcast, whether you listen to our YouTube videos, 9 times out of 10, we're stressing the importance of having a trading plan, because that ultimately is the foundation of your trading business. And by having clarity as to what you're looking for, you're not going to be second guessing in the real time, right? And this is kind of where that hesitation comes into play, right? You see a setup forming, but you might be wondering, if I take this trade, it's probably going to stop me out. I don't know if it's right. So you pass on it, and then it ends up going in your direction. And then you end up taking subpar trades in order to kind of revenge not having taken the one that did work out. Right? So that is really the practical tip number one, is to have a clear identity, or rather a clear vision of what that perfect trade setup looks like, and look for just that. Practical strategy number two is to not overcomplicate your strategy. All right, there's that acronym KISS. Keep it simple, silly. Keep it a little bit tame. But KISS, and nothing holds truer than that principle, right? Because if you overcomplicate your strategy, then that is going to lead to more confusion, which is going to lead to analysis paralysis, which is going to lead to hesitation when a setup forms, which is going to lead to more frustration, more stress, and more anxiety. And that's, the opposite of the experience we want to have as traders. So how do you keep things simple? Well, the strategy really shouldn't be anything crazy. The simpler it is, the better. We like to trade, I personally like to trade a break and retest strategy. It's something so simple you can put it on a napkin with the rules. Of course, there are different qualifiers and criteria that I'll look for that, I can grade a setup, whether it's an A+ setup down to a C kind of a setup. But at the end of the day, the strategy in itself is so simple, really anybody can do it. And the importance of having a simple strategy is because simple is something that you can repeat, right? And consistency is what's required for success in the markets. So if you can repeat something consistently, you're going to have more chances of success, and that's exactly why you shouldn't overcomplicate your strategy. So practical tip number 3 is to reframe your mindset as it relates to your job as a trader. Now, in trading, like we said, trading in itself is uncertain, and you've got to be able to accept the fact that it's uncertain, right? So oftentimes as traders, if we're coming from a place where we don't really have a strategy, then if you end up taking trades and you win them, you think it's because of my skill. But if you end up taking a losing trade, you're gonna look at, what did I do wrong? How can I make sure this doesn't happen again? And you can't, right? Because the market's uncertain. You can't know every next move that's gonna happen. And the beauty of it is that you don't have to, right? And so what I mean by reframing your mind to what your role is as a trader is the sense that your role as a trader is to follow your plan. All right, regardless of whether a trade works out, regardless of whether a trade does not work out, at the end of the day, all that you have to do as a trader is follow your plan. And the results are only as good as how you execute that plan. So instead of taking things personally, instead of being uncertain whether a trade's gonna work out or not, all you're gonna be doing is following the plan. If you follow your plan, if you execute based on your strategy, based on your risk management, etc., you're going to be putting yourself in a better position to use that uncertainty as an opportunity to excel in your trading. And finally, the 4th strategy that you can apply to help you deal with uncertainty as a trader is just to love all market conditions. All right, and I know this sounds a little bit interesting, but let me explain myself. So oftentimes traders, they have this preconceived notion that, certain seasons, certain markets, they're not really good for trading. And there is some truth in that, but what I'm trying to get at here is the fact that oftentimes, and I'll use the example of summer trading. Right, so oftentimes traders will come in with that preconceived notion, for example, that summer trading, the ranges tend to retract, the volume tends to dry up, and you don't often get as many moves, right? So a lot of traders will come in and say, you know what, it's summer market, there's not going to be really any opportunities. And so when they sit down at the screen during the summertime markets, they're already going to be sitting down with the expectation that there's not going to be any movement, that there's not going to be any opportunities. But that's not necessarily the right way to go about it, because if you're coming in with the preconceived notion that there's not going to be any opportunities, guess what? You're not going to find any opportunities. But if you reframe your thinking to loving all conditions, loving it when it ranges, loving it when it trends, in that kind of mindset, you are going to be able to spot the opportunities in the market, regardless of whether it's summertime, regardless of whether there's any high impact news around the corner. You are going to be able to find the opportunities because you are looking forward to trading the market regardless of the conditions. So those were the 4 practical strategies that you guys can use to help you deal with uncertainty in your trading. Drop a comment down below. Let me know if this helped you guys, and let me also know what you guys want to see next from us. Until next time, good luck and good trading, guys. Take care.
Hello, and thank you for watching this video. I want to take a moment to invite you to an exclusive online trading masterclass. In this event, you're going to learn 3 key things to help take your trading to the next level. Number 1, we're going to teach you a complete price action strategy used by professional traders on a daily basis, plus give you the checklist so you know how to check off each step to qualify the opportunities. Number 2, we're going to teach you how to use advanced order flow analytics to help you qualify high probability, low risk trade setups on a daily basis. Plus, we're going to teach you how to use that order flow to disqualify the trades that you're used to taking that end up being stopped out. Number 3, we're going to show you how you can apply all of this information with a small account, because you can start small and scale up. In fact, that's the only way to start, and a lot of our traders are doing it in our community on a daily basis. This is an exclusive offer you can get online only at this event. I look forward to seeing you at this masterclass and teaching you these 3 secrets of highly profitable day trading. Take care and have a great day.